Couldn't shake the sense of dread as she drove away from the creek. Her mind raced, heart pounding in her chest as the world outside the car grew darker and colder. The storm had intensified again, and the snow began to fall in thick, blinding sheets. She glanced nervously in the rearview mirror, half expecting to see the creature's twisted form lurking just out of sight, but the road was empty. For a moment, she convinced herself that she was safe, that the worst was behind her. She tried to focus on the road, the headlights cutting through the snow, but the weight of the silence in the car was unbearable. She rolled down the window, hoping the cold air would clear her mind, but the moment the wind rushed in, she heard it, a soft scraping sound from somewhere behind her. Her heart lurched in her chest. She slammed her foot on the gas, but the sound followed, growing louder, more insistent. It was a scratching, like claws on metal, scraping against the roof of the car. Her eyes flicked to the rearview mirror again, but this time something caught her eye. A shadow, a figure just at the edge of the headlights. It was standing by the side of the road, its elongated limbs twitching in the snow. The creature. Kelly's breath caught in her throat as she sped up, the tires skidding on the icy road. The figure remained still, watching her. The sound on the roof grew louder, as though it was moving, keeping pace with her. Then, suddenly, a horrific crack echoed from above. The creature's claws punctured the metal. Panic surged through Kelly as she swerved, narrowly avoiding a tree, but the car's tires slid on the ice and she lost control. The car spun out, skidding off the road, and then everything went black. When Kelly regained consciousness, she was no longer in the car. The storm had swallowed her, and all she could hear was the creek, rushing at roaring, cold and alive. Her body ached, and the freezing snow burned against her skin. She tried to move, but something was holding her down. She looked up. The creature stood over her, its face now fully visible, the smooth, blank skin stretched over its skull. Its mouth was open wide, a grotesque, cavernous maw of teeth. Its hands, long and clawed, wrapped around her arms, pulling her toward the edge of the creek. Kelly struggled, but the creature's grip was iron. She could feel the cold water licking at her legs as it dragged her closer to the dark depths, the current pulling violently beneath the ice. The creature tilted its head, that twisted grin widening even further, its face gleaming like death in the pale light. A low, gurgling sound echoed from its throat, like the death rattle of something ancient. The creature leaned down, its lips brushing against her ear, and whispered, "You're mine now." The ground beneath her cracked open. The ice shattered with a deafening crack, and the cold, rushing water swallowed her whole. As she sank, the last thing Kelly saw was the creature's face, grinning down at her, its hollow eyes watching her drown in the dark. Then the world went silent. The next morning, search teams combed the area, finding only the abandoned car, the windshield shattered and streaked with something dark. The snow around the creek was disturbed, but there were no signs of Kelly, only deep, gnarled claw marks etched into the snow leading into the water. And the creek, as always, ran swiftly, its surface calm and untouched, hiding its secrets beneath.